there's the random guy as Schwarzenegger is just running. He pushes off of an escalator.
Oh, yeah.
That's
He goes,
a fun
hey,
one.
come on.
Yeah, he probably didn't die, but like that's a great injury.
Yeah,
I think.
we talked about how we'd love to be that actor.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, push me off this staircase. That'd be fun.
Mr. Schwarzenegger, do you think you could like push me and I like fall and it'd be kind of funny? Do you think could we add that? Oh yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Great idea. It's back.
Rach, do you ever get sick of the new theme?
Never.
Okay, prove it. Sing the old theme.
That's very helpful.
Now do the going home. Now we're logging off. Elevator music.
I
don't know this one completely. Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I don't remember, I guess.
Well, it's good to have the new pod music. It's good to have the new pod logo. It's good to have a new location this week.
Yes, we are on site right now. We are on location at the cabin this weekend. And so it might sound a little different. We're not in our normal sound studio.
Yeah, our beautiful studio closet, which has such a warm, vibrant sound. Rach pointed out we did our test, and she's like, I think I sound really good. And whenever I'm going, I'm like, yeah, I sound like way over here. It's very echoey, very nasal. It's just a you thing.
You have really good projection, and so your voice is like bouncing off the rafters here. And I'm great.
Yeah, you just kind of have a radio voice, very warm and inviting.
No, I think you have a better voice for radio, but maybe not a better voice for echoey basements.
Oh, okay. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
Rach. Mm-hmm. What just happened?
That's what I would like to know.
What did you after the movie? So we watched this last night, and it got done pretty late. I actually thought at one point Rach fell asleep during it.
Oh.
Did you fall asleep?
No, I didn't fall asleep, but my eyes were heavy. Like my eyes were very dry, and I could tell you right when it happened. So we watched the movie Total Recall last night, and it was about when we went to Mars.
Oh, that's like 60%, 50% in? Not even 40%?
I know. My eyes all of a sudden were just very dry, like, ow. So if you saw, like, I was a little squinty.
Yeah, there was a moment where I looked over and I was just staring at you. And something had happened, and I was trying to, like, gauge your intention for it. I was like, yeah, what'd you think about that? And you just, like, had this, like, old man glare on. And it was like you're kind of looking down, and your chin, like, you had a nice double chin going and everything. And I was like, what's going on with you? And I'm just kind of staring at you. And I was finally like, oh, are you half asleep right now? Like, are you awake? And you're like, yeah, I'm awake. Were you awake when I called you on that?
Yeah, I'm awake. Yeah, I had the mean mug, like when you get kind of tired. Usually this happens to me when I'm driving late at night. And
oh, you should see Rach. She looks like a 90-year-old woman.
Yeah, you just get this kind of like grumpy face on, and yeah, you can't like really like relax your face, because if you do, you'll fall asleep. So you have to hold it really scrunchy, and you're like,
yeah, it looks like the bitter beer face, if you remember that from those commercials back in like the early 2000s.
That's what it felt like. I felt like I had a bitter beer face on all last night.
Yeah. Well, did you have a bitter beer face on because this movie gave it to you?
I shan't spoil it yet.
Okay.
But yes.
We watched a real knockdown, drag out slobber knocker last night.
Oh my gosh.
Rach, for those folks out there, you have been dreading this moment. From the moment that the movie got done, you said, I have to write a summary for this.
Right.
Try your darndest to break down what the heck just happened.
I'm trying to decide if this is going to be harder to explain than Big Trouble Little China. I think it will be. I do. I think this is going to be more challenging.
Yep.
Okay.
You didn't write anything down though. Look at you. You're just like,
Yeah.
you usually don't write.
If
these
I
ones
wrote
down,
it, I
suppose.
would get lost in my thoughts.
Yeah.
I just have to kind of. You just need to be with me as I
love
journey through where we're going here. So we've got a mild-mannered guy who's in Arnold Schwarzenegger's body. So he's only as mild-mannered as he can be looking like that. And he seems kind of dissatisfied with his life. And we're somewhere in the future.
Yep.
I don't remember if they gave us a year.
Oh, they do. Well, I don't know if the movie does, but I know the year. It's in my notes. I think it's 2084.
Oh, okay.
So get ready. Get ready. It's the Great Soda Pop Warriors. Did you notice that Pepsi is on Mars and Coke is on Earth?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Is that intentional?
Soda Pop Wars, baby. It's coming.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here then. And so there is a place that allows you to kind of import memories for fun, recreationally. So it's called Total Recall.
Yeah.
And what they do is they'll implant this like 2-week vacation memory, and you can get upgrades on it, and you can go anywhere, and you'll have all these fantastic memories of the trip. And you can also pick themes too, so you can go as somebody else. You don't have to be yourself on the vacation. You can be a secret agent or a billionaire or whatever you want. And so he goes to do this, and partway through, something goes wrong, right? They're not able to upload this vacation in his brain because they're like, oh, someone's already erased his brain. What? Or erased his memory, I guess, not his brain. I don't know. The science is new. So essentially, he wakes up from this and he's in secret agent mode. And so as an audience, we're kind of trying to figure out, it's a little, it kind of keeps it suspenseful in like, is he dreaming? Did this thing go wrong and he just thinks he's a secret agent? Or is he really a secret agent and now all of a sudden that procedure just kind of helped him remember this past life that he had. So we've got Earth, and then we have other planets too in the future. So you can travel to Mars, and he keeps wanting to go to Mars for it's kind of unclear why he has this drive to go to Mars. He has all these dreams and these memories about it.
Yep.
So he just feels like he wants to go there, and he feels like he will make something of his life there. So at any rate, all of a sudden things start happening and it gets really weird. Like his woman who is his wife starts to try to kill him because she's also a secret agent, and calamity ensues. Fast forward to now we're on Mars, and this is where I'm
watching Rach. I can see the wheels. They're starting to really spin. The hamster's like, I'm going to start running now.
It's almost slowing down is what's happening.
Oh, okay. It's like, I'm tired.
I was cooking, and now it's like, what? How do I? Yeah, so Mars is in the midst of a revolution, and there's some rebels, and really what it is we have a finite amount of air on Mars. And so you've got these kind of bigger corporations who are in charge of air, and obviously there's a lot of greed with that, and a lot of people who are kind of held hostage.
And they want minerals, too. There's something about minerals, so I think it's like we'll control the air, so then we can have the mineral resource, then we can sell to Earth or something like that.
Yep. And essentially what he has to do is save Mars and make it so that Mars, all the people of Mars have air. And that's a very tricky process. It's very scientific, the way that they do it.
Is it scientific?
Well, what you do, you push this button.
Push a button with an alien hand on it.
Yep, and it can be anyone's hand. It doesn't have to be alien shaped. And then
I actually forgot that. When I saw the alien imprint, I was like, wait, does he end up being an alien at the end? I was like, oh wait, no, he doesn't become an alien.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, not a problem. Yeah, it was interesting, and I think that's good enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, one of the crazy things is we find out his wife, played by Sharon Stone, is actually not his wife.
Right.
She's actually sent there to make him think that she's his wife so she can keep tabs on him.
Yeah, she's like his
erased his memory.
babysitter almost.
And then you forgot like a big moment. He betrays himself.
Yes. So all
It's a
this
very
whole
convoluted
time,
plot.
throughout, his secret agent adventures, he's like watching this video of himself saying like, "Hey, if you're watching this, it's because your memory's being erased. So listen to me because I'm you, and I'll help you through it." And then at the very end,
he double crosses himself.
He's like, he's a bad guy. It's so crazy.
Yep.
I don't even know.
Yep. So you find out he was fooling himself so he could infiltrate the rebels. But really, he wanted that to happen so then they could lead him to it. And then he's like, now I'll take my mind back.
Yeah.
He's like, what? What the heck is going on around here?
Yeah. I'll stop. We'll stop there. If you haven't seen it, don't.
That's so funny.
Just kidding. Maybe try.
Yeah, we'll get it at the end. I think we'll be a little farther apart on this one.
Oh, we're going to be oceans apart.
Okay. So let me tell you what I remembered about this movie.
Yeah, please.
There were two things. I saw this movie at a very young age, probably like early grade school.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe middle grade school.
This is very violent.
I know.
This is so
Let me
bloody.
tell you what I remember.
Okay.
The two things that I remembered about this movie, I remembered the thousands of times in this movie that happens
much
where
of
Arnold
that.
makes that noise and makes crazy reactions.
And you warned me.
And sometimes his eyes bulge out of his head.
Yeah.
Number one, let me just say, I'm so glad that I wasn't watching this during a fast like I was last week when I was very lethargic. This movie moves so fast that like my mind would have exploded. I would have looked like the eyeballs. Like it would have been crazy.
For sure.
So the fast was over, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between. It was, thank goodness. And I remember that reaction, and I remembered what I thought were, what do you think I'm going to say?
No, I'm just laughing because we're down in our basement right now in the cabin, and we left Gizmo, our dog, out, and she just came
found
in.
us.
And she came in, so she's just shaking in the background.
You're
like,
gonna hear jingling.
Damn it, Giz, you're ruining the ambiance that was so perfect before.
In this echoey bedroom. We tried to pick the one carpeted bedroom, but so the other thing that I remembered was what I thought were 6 boobies.
Oh, it was only 3.
Yeah. It was only 3.
Yeah.
Much to my surprise as a 35-year-old, I was like, oh, when I was 8, I thought there were 6 boobies.
That was your core memory.
My core memory. And she was blonde in my core memory.
Oh, yeah.
How funny is that?
Very fun.
But she's a brunette with 3 boobies. But
Yeah,
I had her as a
she's
blonde with 6.
There's a space hooker is what we're talking about.
So and this kind of ties in with the movie. Your memories can play tricks on you.
Oh.
So I actually think
yeah.
that there's a connection to Total Recall with this.
Yeah.
That in my mind, they had said, perfect woman, build her. I'm like, she has 6 boobies and she's blonde. And they're like, nope, she's a brunette with 3. Rach, I've got boatloads of trivia, but we also have so much to unpack.
So much.
So I'm going to try to like scoop through this trivia. Feel free to comment whenever you feel compelled.
Okay.
But there's going to be a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, save some time for just general thoughts.
General
because
thoughts.
I have many.
You got it.
Of those.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me fly through some pre-pro. This was the screenplay was written by 2 guys. Took 2 dudes to come up with this.
That honestly makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, it's like exponential. It's like, hey, then what if this happens? Like, oh, that's great. And then this happens on top of it. They're like, whoa, dude, that's an awesome idea.
It's almost like they both started on one end and they somehow like conjoined it together.
Yeah.
It's like there's several stories here, so I could see why 2 authors makes this a possibility.
Okay. And actually, when we get through it, you'll see there's more than 2 authors. There's so many hands that got in this cookie jar. So the guy's name's Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. They wrote this masterpiece. And they wrote a different masterpiece. Well, they wrote it after this movie, but it came out before. Does that make sense? The screenplay was after this one. It was the movie. Came out in 1979. Sci-fi masterpiece. Any guesses?
No.
Alien.
Oh, I was going to guess Alien.
Well, you should have then.
I was like, the one time I had to guess, but he was like, well,
You're too scared.
What if it's on the 70s? I'll be embarrassed.
No, it's okay. It's 79. You would have been okay even if you guessed the 80s. You're so close. So they wrote Alien.
Okay.
after they wrote this.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of gives you an idea of what their strengths are.
I think they learned some things.
Yeah, I
along
think so
the
too.
way.
It's actually based on a book.
I was wondering only because it's such a complex story
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much to it. And a lot of it's very fascinating and I
Sure.
think really good. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot there that's like, oh, this is a cool concept.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like a really large
Dense.
novella, like just the densest Moby Dick style book, just smashed.
I was gonna say Dune. It feels like a Dune-like
but
world.
not in 3 films in one. Although I probably could have done a little bit more than movie 1. Let's be honest, people.
For Dune?
That was a little slow.
Yeah, Dune. The first Dune movie, Rach and I were not as big a fans. So
I'll
for
be
you
interested.
Dune lovers,
We'll see where it goes.
yeah, I'm not super interested. Okay, so it's based on a book called "We Can Remember It For You Wholesale." We can remember it for you wholesale.
Okay. That's like what Total Recall is.
Yeah, I guess so. It's not crafty.
A little
title.
less catchy.
Yeah, a little less catchy. The screenplay went over 40 rewrites. Mm-hmm. And they had tons of different writers and studios that were trying to spruce it up. Mm-hmm. A writer from this movie, this Summers Off classic, touched this film. And I think this would not surprise you. Mm-hmm. What's your guess?
Nora Ephron.
No. Nope.
Nancy Myers?
Nope, not Nancy Myers. Another movie, similar vibe, that you were not crazy about.
The screenwriter for Big Trouble Little China?
Absolutely.
Who was that?
I don't remember. I didn't take down their name.
But that's the person. Same person?
Yep. The same screenwriter came in and fuddled with it for a while.
Oh, wow.
And then I don't think his version was the final version either. And then they kept moved on to another person.
Again, I'm just there's so many light bulbs going off for me, multiple writers, that screenwriter.
Yeah.
Yes, this is making much more sense to me.
Oh,
Got it.
And even as we go through pre-pro, it continues. So the first director who gets attached to it early, and then they get fired because they don't like the direction they're taking. They said they wanted more Raiders of the Lost Ark than this person was giving. Was David Cronenberg.
Okay.
David Cronenberg we just talked about in the Top Gun episode. Who's also attached to Top Gun.
Okay.
David Cronenberg made Eastern Promises. He made Scanners, where the heads explode.
Yep,
and then there was a third movie that you would know that he made that we talked about in the Top Gun episode.
Oh, The Fly.
Yep, he made The Fly.
You gave me the same clue last time, and I nailed it again.
By the way, guys, if you hear this kind of stuff, it's because we don't have our home set up, so it's a little more willy-nilly. So I just want to apologize in advance if you hear some
update on Gizmo
weird
though.
thumps.
She's taking a nap now, and
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be quiet
I
the
think
rest of
she's
the
gonna
time.
be fantastic. She's potted with us before.
She has secret guest.
Now, the director that they ended up going with, you might remember this director from previous Summers Off Fun. His name is Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven did Basic Instinct.
Okay.
Sharon Stone.
Got it.
Did RoboCop. Did Showgirls.
Wow.
And also did this Summers Off flick. Do you remember?
Something that would go along with all of those.
Dutch. Don't think too much about that. Just see if
Is that
that
a
sparks
nickname?
anything. Nope.
It's not someone's nickname?
No.
Dutch? The movie is Dutch?
Paul Verhoeven.
Somebody's who's Dutch. Made a movie once.
The lead
upon a
actor
time.
was Dutch that he cast.
The lead actor was Dutch.
Also action. Also sci-fi.
Yeah.
Summers Off opener
Yep.
one season.
Space. Space.
Yep.
That one.
There's space,
That one I
yes.
always make fun of you about.
Yep. The only good.
Bug is a dead bug. Right?
Yep, exactly.
I can't remember the name.
Starship Troopers.
Starship. I was gonna, no, it's not Spaceballs. What is it? What is that stupid movie?
So Paul Verhoeven
Paul
made Starship
Verhoeven,
Troopers
Starship
as well.
Troopers.
What do you remember about this director? What does he love?
Gore?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a big gore bore. There's nothing clever there. Honestly, when you talked about all of those movies, so you've got Basic Instinct, RoboCop, and what were the other
Showgirls.
ones? Showgirls. That's what this feels like. It
Like
feels
you
like
mashed all those together,
it's a
right?
mashup of all of
And
those
Starship
things.
Troopers.
And Starship Troopers.
All
yeah.
four of those movies. They're all.
If I put those in a blender, I would get Total Recall. I need a little bit of the mind play
Yep.
Whatever we want to call that part, like the film noir.
Oh,
or
sure.
that kind of like that detective-y
Uh-huh.
kind of film. But otherwise, the rest of that, put it in a blender. That's what this is.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. He loves uber violence, and he also likes to add a lot of sex in it. I don't know if you remember this.
Yep.
He was the one who got naked when they filmed the shower scene in Starship Troopers.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so he's a very sexual human being.
Ew,
He likes a lot of
ew.
sexy stuff.
Gross.
The Dutch, Paul Verhoeven. And so if I told you that Arnold was not the first choice, would you be surprised?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I think you could go. I think a lot of guys could have done this role.
Okay.
And to be honest, it's not that I'm not an Arnold fan. I am.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of him in this.
What
This
if-
was bad. This was bad Arnold.
This is bad Arn.
This is bad Arn.
Okay. What if I told you he's not the second choice? What if I told you he's not the third choice?
Oh my gosh.
Fourth, fifth, sixth. I think he's the seventh choice.
Wow. Well, not shocked, because if I read the script, I would,
Yeah.
and which version of the script, don't know, but
Uh-huh.
I would have some questions about the fluidity with which we're going to tell this story. So
Sure.
I could see why this would maybe get kicked down the road a bit.
So their first choice, I think, is super weird. And we've talked about this person for like action 80s movies before, and I thought it was weird then too. And so I decided to do a little dive and look at pictures of this person.
Oh,
I think
sure.
it's the strangest choice ever. Richard Dreyfuss
Oh, yeah.
was the leading person the person they first offered this role to. If you look at Richard Dreyfuss, like Jaws came out in the late 70s, I think. I think it's like 78, 77. And he doesn't make any sense for this role. Their second person makes a lot more sense to me.
Okay.
Fresh off Dirty Dancing,
Oh, Sways.
the Sways.
The Swayzinator.
Yep.
Yeah. He would have been really good in this.
He was choice 2.
I would like him in this. It's not Arnold's fault. It's honestly, it's the accent sometimes. It's just so hard
Yep.
to get past.
Well, and the reason why, well, here, I'll get into this now. He read the script and he loved it. And he wanted the role.
Swayze did or Arnold?
No, Arnold did.
Arnold did, yeah.
Arnold read the script and the studio said, Arnold, no, this movie is not for you. It doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't think that this Joe Schmo is an action star right when we see him. The whole point of the movie is, oh, this Joe Schmo ends up being an action star. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he has all these skills that we didn't know about because his mind is somebody else's.
Yes.
And we just thought he was just like a normal dude, but he's not a normal dude. But Arnold, you look like an action star.
Yes. He is perfect in Predator. He's perfect in Terminator.
Uh-huh.
He is a killing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't just be a random, what is he? He's a construction worker.
Yeah.
He jackhammers for a living without a hat. No one had hard hats. I was very concerned. In the future, we decided that's not necessary.
His arms were huge.
His biceps were just jiggling when he was jackhammering.
When he's jackhammering, it's incredible. I was like, whoa.
He's got like 8 muscles that I've never seen before on anyone's arms. It's like, what do we call that one?
Yeah.
I only know
Yep.
like bis and tris. What are those other 4?
That one's called Schwarzenegger's Master Doris. Those
He
are special
should get
muscles.
he should get to name a muscle because he created it somehow. No, I agree with that. I think more of a built, that's fine, but like more of an everyman type is much more interesting and fits the gist of the story versus Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So you liked Swayze as a choice. Listen
Yeah.
to these other names that it went through too. Matthew Broderick. We mentioned with Top Gun, I think, too.
Again, and I know what Matthew Broderick looked like at this time, and it's so hard
That
for me to
one's
think
more
of him
silly.
as an action star.
No, don't see it at all.
But that one would be very funny if he became a secret agent. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden he was just like pulling the
Just
the
he would
punches
seem
and
so
stuff.
young to me. I'd be like, what is this guy doing? I mean, it was 90, and Ferris Bueller probably came out, 86, 85, so it's a few years later, but still.
I can't
Yeah.
see it.
Okay, so Broderick, Christopher Reeve, Jeff Bridges,
Okay.
and Dennis Quaid. Those are the other people that I
Ugh,
mentioned. Do you
Dennis
have?
Quaid.
Oh, okay. Dennis Quaid would be another one.
Yeah.
Dennis
'cause
Quaid
he
versus
is an everyman.
Swayze.
Look at him. He's so cute. I would still go with Swayze because I think Swayze
Okay.
would be. I mean, I think they're both pretty good actors, but Swayze just feels like he fits the bill even better.
Yeah, for this character.
It's the dancing, honestly. He's just so versatile and flexible, and he could do some really cool things. I bet, like some cool high kicks, or he just is just very like built in that way.
I can imagine, like, Swayze's been in movies where he's had to fight and stuff. Like, obviously in The Outsiders he fights, in that one bartending movie he fights. But has he ever been in like a straight up action movie that you can think of?
Oh, probably.
I mean,
I can't
he
think of
probably
any,
did
but
some,
probably.
but like a big one that was super famous. I don't think of him as like an action star. But he could have been.
But why not?
I know. Maybe he's got the build for it. He's athletic. He always
turned them down, I guess.
Maybe he just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's too cool.
And so here's how Arnold came to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Arnold told the studio that he was associated with, he's like, hey, this movie is floundering in pre-production. I think we could buy this movie from the other studio. Oh. And so they made an offer.
Okay.
And they bought it out from the studio. And then the studio that Arnold had were like, okay, it's all yours. And you have creative control. You're not only going to be the leader, you're the lead actor. You get to help cast it.
Oh, boy.
You get to pick the director.
Oh, boy.
You get to pick all the creative heads. You have complete creative control over this project. And he's like, awesome. It's exactly what I wanted. So he picks out everybody. He hires Paul Verhoeven because he loved RoboCop.
And he was, yeah.
Did you've never seen RoboCop?
Not really.
Because it's on our Summers Off list.
I know. Not enough of it to count, so.
Talk about gratuitous violence.
Yeah?
That one's even more gratuitous violence than what you just saw.
Seriously, than this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The whole point of it is like, let's show crime at its like umpteenth to show like here's how uber violent like criminal justice system is and everything. It's almost like a commentary on like our criminal justice.
Interesting.
And that stuff. But yeah, and our uber violent nature of media and stuff. So here's where Arn was at this time. He had just done the movie Running Man, which I don't think you've ever seen.
No, I've never seen
that. Movie's on our Summers Off list as well.
Okay.
Super fun. It's like a game show. He's trying to survive a game show, like where he has to survive all these killing challenges. Kind of like Squid Game.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like it is. I've never seen Squid Game, but it sounds like it's similar to that.
Okay.
Only it was in the 80s, and Jesse Ventura's in it.
Okay.
And so he had done that movie, and he had done Twins. And then after this movie, he's going to do Kindergarten Cop.
So good.
Such a great movie. Such a great movie. And another great movie. Two of his best movies in his catalog, actually. Kindergarten Cop and T2. Judgment Day.
T2.
So good in
so
T2.
Good. It's a legit good movie.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good to know where he's at.
Yep.
Oh, man. I mean, knowing now that he's also in charge of everything is another light bulb for me. Like, aha! This is why this
Nobody
is all making
could
sense.
give him notes. Like, if they were like, hey, we need you to change some acting stuff, he's like, no, this is my movie. Shut your mouth. What'd you think of Sharon Stone?
She is like my femme fatale of all time.
Yeah?
Yeah, she just is she good in this? No, but it's not Basic Instincts, right? Where she's I think awesome.
She's super good in Basic Instinct.
But she's just one of my favorite villains. It's almost in a detriment to her. She can almost not play anybody that's not like two-faced or that does not have like an ulterior motive. Like I can't trust her. She's just too good at playing this femme fatale.
You were the best assignment I ever had. Really.
I'm honored.
You sure you don't want to? Just for old time's sake? Come on. If you don't trust me, you can tie me up.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I love me some Sharon Stone.
Well, if you didn't like this movie, you should at least thank it for helping Sharon Stone break out.
Yeah.
This was like her first big breakout role.
Okay.
She had been in a lot of movies before this. I don't mean to make it sound like she wasn't working.
Yeah.
But for 10 years, she had been trying to break out into the industry.
Wow.
And you want to know her biggest claim to fame?
Huh.
She was nominated for a Razzie for the movie Alan Quatermain in the Lost City of Gold.
Oh, no.
Rach? What's Alan Quatermain in the Lost City of Gold about?
Is Quatermain the person's last name?
I think so.
Alan Quatermain. I don't even. What is the origin of that last name? Quatermain.
yeah. What's the nationality, like ethnic background of that? I don't know.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, It sounds like an Atlantis type film. Like we're gonna stumble upon something, or who knows. Is she a femme fatale in that? I wonder. Or
I don't
is
think so.
she
I think
just,
she
like,
plays the love
interest.
interest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which it's not that she couldn't do that. I'm sure, but boy, ever since Basic Instinct, I just think there's something else going on behind those eyes.
I think you're
Always.
attracted to her is what the deal is.
Well, yeah, that could be, but that isn't. But I think she's like a villain.
Yeah. You're
So
like,
what does that say?
I think you want to play more villains.
I
think you see
okay.
a little bit of something that you're like, I want to be like that.
I mean, I just think she's good, so I'm just admiring it. But I don't know that I could.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like to be able to be that good at that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the movie is pretty much an Indiana Jones like mock.
Oh.
I don't know if it's supposed to be funny, like making fun of it.
Fun of it?
I don't think it's a spoof. I think it's just like a terrible ripoff.
Well, Quatermain, that sounds like a comedy. To
It
be
does,
honest.
but I was reading the synopsis and it didn't sound like it was. It sounded like it was really like trying to be an adventure movie.
Spoof sounds fun.
But she loses the Razzie to Madonna.
From Dick Tracy?
No, Madonna, I don't remember what she got it from, but
Oh.
she lost it to Madonna. But her work in this film would actually convince Verhoeven to cast her in Basic Instinct shortly after.
Oh, good.
And
yeah.
then obviously the sky was the limit for her after that. Rachel Ticotin played Melina.
Yeah.
Or who they
so
call Lena most of the movie. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say who she was. She's Melina, right?
I think they call her just Lena.
Lena
Almost all the whole movie.
is kind of, she shows up as a memory a lot of times for Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and she is essentially the girlfriend back on Mars who he doesn't remember, who ends up helping him throughout the second half of the movie. Yeah, she's cute, brown hair, curly hair, very 80s.
And you were saying you've never seen her in anything before, right?
I think so. She
Okay.
didn't look familiar to me.
Well, you're wrong. You have. And
I have?
I'll start with where you've heard her.
I heard her.
You heard her in the TV show Gargoyles.
Oh, is she the main?
I think she's the gal.
Main gal in Gargoyles that I
Yep.
don't know.
I don't remember her name.
Carmen?
I don't know any of their names, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Goliath is somebody.
Oh, yeah. Goliath's the main one.
Yep. I
Good
don't remember
job.
any other ones.
The little green one, the brown one.
Big fat one. And then Melina.
Um,
That's cool.
So she was also in one of your favorite Nick Cage movies. She played a cop in Con Air.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And she stays alive. They keep her alive.
Yeah.
And they kind of like torment her throughout the movie, I think.
Okay.
And then this is the part that I'm like, oh, Rach probably should remember this. She was in a movie this season of Summers Off.
What?
A featured character.
Are you
We're not
kidding-
talking about an extra.
Are you kidding
We're talking about
me?
a strong feature character
In mine or yours?
this season. Yours.
What?
Strong character.
Oh, it was oh my gosh. Is she the mom in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? Is she
She's
Carmen's mom?
America Ferrera's mom.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
How
Tight.
cool is that?
Worlds collide.
So we were just at lunch. We were at a pizza place. And I was like, did you recognize, I think I mentioned, I kind of keyed it up. I was like, did you recognize the main chick from anything? And you were like, no, I don't think I've ever seen her ever. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just tried to play it cool. It was in my head. I was like,
Nope, never seen her before in my life. Ever.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
Another interesting thing, casting-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold felt it was necessary to cast every single one of those military guys who he just destroys.
Oh,
Everybody
okay.
who's like a part of like a military outfit
Sure.
in this movie
The hundreds of guys.
was an actual military person.
What?
Yep. Cast all real military personnel.
Why? Why?
I don't know. By the way, did you notice they had something weird on their arms when they were running around?
No.
They had like a big thing on their arms.
Like a part of their uniform?
Yeah, it's like they had like a little thing that they would like push down and they push buttons on sometimes and things.
Oh.
They had like big calculators on their wrists.
Oh, like an Apple Watch.
I guess so. Yeah, it was like Apple Watches before Apple Watches, but only if you were just
future.
calculating tips and stuff.
No, I don't remember seeing that.
So they shot this. Do you have a guess where they shot this at?
Where? Not
Yeah.
on Mars?
No, it wasn't on Mars.
We're not on Mars.
No.
Well, that's shocker. Nevada?
Nope.
It looks like it's a desert.
You are correct. It was a deserty place.
Is it desert near California?
Nope.
No?
It was
Oh.
Mexico.
Oh,
They filmed this bad boy in Mexico.
What do you mean that's not a desert near California? They're touching.
Oh, did I say no to that?
Yeah.
I just meant no, not California. They wanted an architecture style called New Brutalism.
Ooh.
New Brutalism means it's like concrete.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's sharp edges, and it just feels blocky and rough.
Yeah.
And
I'm very familiar with that architectural style. I believe New Los Angeles had that in the classic Double Dragon.
Double Dragon,
I think they
for
were
sure.
Also New Brutalism.
Even though I think they filmed that in Cleveland. I think that was in Ohio.
Same style, though. Same style. New Brutal.
So because it got shot in Mexico, what do you think happened to the cast and crew? Something bad happened to them.
To the cast and crew?
Yep.
Did everybody get Montezuma's revenge?
They did.
Oh,
They all got
no,
Montezuma's
you guys,
revenge.
Come on.
Rach, have you ever had Montezuma's revenge?
As a result of being in Mexico?
Oh, I know you had it last night, but have you ever had official Montezuma's revenge?
No, I've never actually had it in Mexico. I've never had the official Montezuma's revenge, but I have, yes,
yeah, I know.
I have partaken in that, as you've shared with listeners most recently, 12 hours ago.
Yep.
So
I did after my fast too.
yeah.
It was just a disaster.
All right, we TMI.
This is why you tune in, folks.
TMI.
Schwartz did not get food poisoning though, because he actually got it 3 years previously, in 1987, when they did Predator down in Mexico. I don't know if you remember that from our very first Summers Off
yeah.
episode.
Oh my gosh.
He got Montezuma's revenge. So because of that, when they did Total Recall, he shipped all his food and water from the U.S.
Oh gosh. Wow. Way to overreact. And yet there you go. You didn't have it. So I guess
So he won.
good for you.
Yeah, for sure. But they weren't attacked just by Montezuma's revenge. There was a cheetah that was on set that somebody had like a pet.
What?
And it was a cougar, not a cheetah. It was a cougar. And it would play and lie around all day on set. And one time Arnold was going into his trailer and the cougar jumped on his back and started biting his neck. And everybody kind of freaked out. And he kind of threw it to the ground and they started playing and goofing around.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. It's cougar on set.
No. No.
Would you play with a cougar?
No,
What
absolutely not.
What if it played with Arnold and he was like, "Oh, it's fun to play with the cougar"?
I love the cougar.
What'd you do?
I can't do an Arnold anymore.
It's been too long.
Oh my gosh. I would be so upset. I get nervous around just regular house cats
I was
sometimes,
just gonna say,
let alone a
normal
cougar.
cats freak you out.
They don't freak me out, but we
You're
have
so tentative around them,
we
babe.
have an understanding. We know
You
that
don't like each other. That's your understanding.
we know that there's a lack of trust between the two of us, and cats and I it's a me thing.
How
I get
come-
that. I wish it wasn't that way, but cats just they know, they sense that I'm unsure of them, and we don't get along. They're very smart.
Have you told the story on the podcast where you used to make your sister go get a cat, a neighborhood cat, and then it scratched her all up and
No,
stuff?
I don't think I told that story. No, there was growing up, we had an alley behind our house, and there was a cute little cat, and it had a little pink nose, and it was just like a stray cat, and we called it Bubblegum.
I hope you should say that.
But I was afraid to pick Bubblegum up because of the scratches that you get with actual, claws and little. I mean, it's a kitten, but still, it hurts, especially as I'm probably 7, maybe younger. And my sister was much braver than me, so
She was only 4 too.
probably, yeah.
Easy to convince to do things.
Yep. So every time the cat would we'd play with it, and then it would run away, Tori, go get it, go pick it up and bring it back, and she would a lot of times, and then it would scratch her and bite her, and then we just eventually let it go. But I tried to feed it milk. So I tried.
You tried to nurse your very own cougar, and it didn't work out in
No.
small form, so you'd be terrified when it's in big form.
Yeah. I wonder if I'll ever have cats. You think that's a reality for us someday?
Not house cats. I tell Rach about this sometimes. If a cat started living in our garage, I would get it its shots. I would feed it food and water. It would never be able to come inside the house unless it was very cold. I'd try to create a nice atmosphere for it, but it would have to live in the garage or outside. It would be an outdoor cat. It would never come inside. So in Minnesota, I think that's kind of inhumane, so I don't know if that would ever happen. It would be like, you're killing your cat. I'd be like, it's not even really my cat. It just lives on my property.
Just my stray cat.
And when I'd be pissed if it had babies, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't sign up for 8 cats.
It will.
Well, I'd get it spayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to spend money on it, but I would. Arnold also got hurt because he cut his hand really bad. There was a moment in the subway where some glass was supposed to break, and it was supposed to time out where it breaks, and then his hand looks like it punched it through, like he punched it through it to break the glass, and it mistimed. The charge didn't go off, and so his hand went through the glass, and then the charge went off, and so a double whammy happened, and so he had to get a bunch of stitches and stuff.
Yeah,
kind of effed up his hand.
Oh, jeez. He doesn't. I don't see a bandage in it at any point during this. So.
Yeah. He also broke a finger during some of the stunts during one of the fights.
Wow.
What'd you think of all the fighting?
There was a lot of it. There was a lot of fighting.
And
a lot of chases.
Was it good? Was it bad?
It was fine. It was fighting. So was what it was.
Okay. Well, let's turn the script a little bit. What'd you think of the eyes bulging out whenever somebody fell and Mars out into the desert? And then their eyes would bulge and they'd go, and their heads would get big like they're going to explode. Just like in Big Trouble in Little China when that one guy explodes himself.
Oh, yeah.
It looks similar.
It does look probably the same special effects.
Yeah.
So when you get out into the atmosphere in Mars, you don't have any oxygen. So I guess that's what happens. Did you know that that's what happens when you don't get oxygen? Your eyes and everything bulges out and your tongue gets really big.
Well,
you explode.
You want to know something crazy?
Is this real?
They kind of were just like flying by the seat when they came up with that idea.
Yeah.
But it's not completely unscientifically founded.
Oh, cool.
So
cool.
When you are out in Mars's atmosphere without a spacesuit or anything, it's like your insides want to go to the outside. It's like a weird thing that happens. So, and I don't know if it would make your body explode or anything like that. I don't think that would happen. But like, let's pretend like you got, it's like somebody sliced open your belly. Your intestines would want to go from inside to now there's an opening. It would want to fly outside. There's not much pressure.
Sure.
And they said one of those things would be your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Your eyeballs would want to pop out of their sockets.
Yeah.
So it's not completely untrue. They said your head would not swell like that. Your body wouldn't swell. It would just be your eyes leaving your sockets.
Just the eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they had it pretty close then. I just didn't really understand how at the very end of the movie, when both Arnold and his love interest like get kicked out, right? They think like, oh no, they're gonna die out there, and all the while like we're waiting, the atmosphere is changing, right? They got the mission accomplished and they hit the button that's gonna make Mars now oxygenated. But they're out there for what feels like a half an hour, probably.
Forever.
Like, there's no way that they're not dead.
And then there's like oxygen flying into the sky right next to them when it starts, but it doesn't do anything yet.
Yeah.
And we've got more bulging eyes and more time out there to like be making noises.
Yeah.
And then it takes forever until it finally happens. And then once it does, there's not even a transition back. They're just like back to normal.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like they just like woke up like, whew, that was nuts.
We never even saw what happened to the bad guy when he goes out there and his eyes bulge. He could be fine now, too.
I mean, at that rate, yeah, because... they were there for like a half hour. He was there for what, maybe like 2 minutes more than him?
Yeah.
Like, so if he's dead and they're not, I would have questions about the validity of that.
I think we needed to see him explode.
Yeah. Might as well.
I
Everyone
know.
else gets to be exploded.
The whole movie was so bloody, you might as well explode him.
So needless.
Otherwise, it was just a waste. But that was a puppet. That was not Arnold.
What was a puppet?
The eyeballs.
Oh, the
bulging.
face? Yeah. I can't wait to talk about special effects.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. They actually got some critical applause for that.
I'm not opposed to the puppets, and I think it looked like they used a lot of practical effects for a lot of it, which aged pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, yep. It took 10 people to operate the eyeball bulging puppet.
How?
I I don't know.
How?
I don't know, babe.
What are you guys all doing?
Well, didn't in Mortal Kombat, like for Goro, didn't it take like 20 guys too, and it'd break all the time?
Yeah,
It was
but
like
that's
this huge thing.
that's like a living, breathing like animatronic. Like these are eyeballs.
Okay,
like, what,
imagine-
you each have like a little puffer and you're
Yeah.
like squish, squish.
No, I
squish,
think that's
squish.
probably what it is. Like one guy's like the one eyeball, one guy's another eyeball, one guy's like cheek muscles, and
I
think they each have a
suppose.
piece of it, and they're like crammed in a little section. They're like, okay, work your magic.
Maybe, yeah.
Another thing that took a lot of, well, there was the nose bug scene that happened too.
Oh yeah,
and that
so
took
he's got
puppeteers as well.
like a plant, like a chip in his brain, and so he in this video he tells himself you got to get rid of that bug. So he's supposed
Yep.
to like shove this thing up his nose, and it takes out this implant.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's huge, but
Yep.
yeah, you see like this giant, like almost like a golf ball size thing, like come down out of Arnold's nose cavity.
Yep.
It's pretty great. His face is awesome during that.
That was a thing that I really remembered as a kid too, from being
Oh,
a kid.
how could you
that whole
not?
section of like something's jammed in your brain and you're pulling it out through your nose is really like a visceral
Oh, yeah.
image to watch.
Oh yeah, you would never stick anything up your nose ever again after watching this.
Well-
or would you?
So I had this one time. I think I told you this story. There are these like hostas that have like these dry stalks. And there was a time I was playing around and I fell. I like tripped over my own 2 feet or something stupid. And one of those dried up stalks went deep up my nose.
Yeah.
Felt like it tickled the bottom of my brain.
Oh, God.
And then blood just started gushing out. It was like a pure fountain.
Yeah, I remember this story.
Yep.
Oh god.
It was crazy.
Oh, it's awful. Oh god.
So I feel like I have had a similar thing happen.
You almost gave yourself a lobotomy.
Yep. I think I can get up there pretty far.
Gosh.
So, Marshall Bell, who played the human part of Kuato, Kuato.
Oh my god. What was that?
Okay,
What?
let's talk about
So
it.
there's this leader of the revolution, we'll say, right? And
Yep.
we don't know what they look like, but
Mhm.
the whole reason, one of the reasons why Arnold's character is like a agent who double crosses himself is because he's supposed to like lead them to this rebel
Yep.
leader.
Who's a psychic?
Who's a psychic.
Yep.
And on the planet, just so you know, on Mars, psychics are kind of more mutant-esque,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And they're probably psychic because something about how they had to work in the mines
Uh-huh.
earlier, so they were exposed to things, and so there's a lot of like.
There's some alien technology on the planet that maybe has something to do with it too. Who knows?
I just pick a story and just like go that direction. But anyways, so he's with this guy, right?
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, this guy starts acting weird, and he just starts like unbuttoning his shirt, and then there's this like hideous baby on his belly, and my hideous, like just like this, like a Chucky doll.
Yeah, it looked like Chucky.
It
That's
looked
a
like,
great comp.
Yeah, but like
Chucky.
a slimy, bald Chucky doll.
Yep.
With sharp, razor sharp teeth and evil eyes, and I was just like, what?
talk kind of like this.
Talk like
Arnold.
that.
I have to see you. Let me see your mind.
Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
Yeah. Open your mind.
Old man baby.
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all the
That
times I
is-
lost it, and I was like, what? What?
That is an image that will stick with you though.
Will it?
Like I think there'll be things that
Oh,
trigger that image. You'll be
no.
like, oh gosh, old man baby Kuato or whatever.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, I would love to forget it if I could.
Okay, that thing. So we said the eyeball popping Arnold puppet took 10
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, what'd Kuato take?
15.
I'm just trying to picture like being Arnold and like having that thing going like as a puppet kind of like talking to you, but maybe you can't hear I don't know how that works, like if they do the sound afterwards or the actor who voices
Somebody's
it,
probably just like doing the lines to you. Yep.
Yeah, I just don't know how I could act opposite that thing. It
Yeah.
was otherworldly. It,
It
was
was so
grotesque. It
slimy.
was so gross.
So wet.
Why is it so wet? And then it's like Carrier, the guy, was
Yep.
almost like passed out,
He's like,
standing up
"Oh."
while this like baby is out of his bed. Guys, I can't even like. Is this real?
Did you recognize the human guy?
No.
He was in Starship Troopers.
Of
He
course
is
was.
the guy, if you remember, they go to an outpost and he's like, the brain bug's getting him, the brain bug, I'm going crazy. And then Michael Ironside, who is in that movie just like he's in this movie,
Oh my
slaps him
gosh.
in the face with his metal arm. Do you remember this whole section?
Vaguely.
Okay. So you've got people who worked with Paul Verhoeven
Wow.
multiple times that were in this movie.
Yeah, Ironside. Here he was again.
Here he was again.
Great. He plays a great villain. Honestly, he's had quite the season with us in
Yes.
Summer
I
and
told you,
Soft.
this is his season.
I have liked him in all of the roles that he has partook in.
Yep.
Although I didn't quite understand in this, so he is actually supposed to be like Sharon Stone's like real life boyfriend
Yep.
in this film. I just thought like I can't see you and Sharon Stone together. Like, you just like, and he's younger in this, but he's just got this like receding, greased back hair, and it's just not an attractive look. It's
Yep.
bad. It's
Yep.
bad.
He plays a good like villain
Oh,
or somebody.
great
Yeah, I
villain.
think that works for him. Even though I
Yeah.
liked him in Starship Troopers where he's not a villain, and Top Gun where he's not a villain.
Yeah.
I think he works really
Villain
well as a villain.
or hard ass
Yep.
army lieutenant.
Yeah.
Whoever.
But okay, let's go back to the Sharon Stone thing.
Okay.
So the storyline between them is this. Arnold is working with the main bad guy and is like, hey, I'm going to like convince myself that I'm part of the rebellion and like trick myself and lose my own memories. But in order to do that, since I'm on top and this guy is like a henchman, hey, your babe of a girlfriend is going to be my wife in this new scenario and we're going to have sex all the time and all these things. And so he like fake or real brainwashed Arnold is having sex with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he has to just live with it.
Yeah, which is probably why he's so bad at following directions. Because he's probably mad about his job situation.
Well, before
you know?
Arnold takes back his memories, Michael Ironside goes up to him and they're like, will he remember this? And they're like, no. And he sucks him right in the mouth.
As he should.
Yeah.
I felt for that character.
I actually
was like,
kind of did too.
I can see why you're mad.
There was part of me that felt
Yeah.
like, Michael Ironside, you're a dick, like 70% of the movie. And then that all kind of gets revealed. And it's like, well, he had to give up the love of his life to like be with the stupid brainwashed Arnold. And then Arnold kills her.
Yeah.
And so of course he's pissed and wants to kill Arnold. And he's like, stop making me keep him alive. Just let me kill him. Because that was a weird thing too. The main bad guy's like, we got to keep him alive.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
he's my best friend.
Also so convoluted. What?
Talk. I said talk.
I'm not your wife.
The hell you're not.
I swear to God, I never saw you before 6 weeks ago. Our marriage is just a memory implant.
You think I'm stupid? Remember our wedding?
Was implanted by the agency.
Falling in love?
Implanted.
Our friends, my job, 8 years together. Suppose all of this was implanted too?
The job's real. The agency set it up.
Bullshit.
They erased your identity and implanted a new one. I was written in as your wife so that I could watch you and make sure the erasure took. Sorry, Quaid. Your whole life is just a dream.
So Michael Ironside was on his phone all the time during the shoot.
Okay.
And Arnold got super pissed.
Yeah.
So he confronts him about it. He chews him out,
Uh-huh.
I think in front of the cast and everything.
Ugh.
And Michael Ironside pulls him aside and is like, hey, I just want you to know the reason I'm on my phone all the time is my sister has terminal cancer and she's about to die.
Oh God.
Yeah, and so Arnold felt terrible.
Yeah.
And then Arnold called his sister and like gave her all these like diet tips and everything and things
Oh
that he
my
said,
gosh.
if you follow these dietary instructions, you'll get healthy again.
And did she?
I don't know. I never found that information out
She
actually.
probably didn't.
Nope, I don't think so. I don't think it would have
Oh,
worked.
Weird. Weird knee-jerk reaction to then say like, oh, here I go. Here, I'll tell you how to beat cancer.
Yep,
It's
I
like,
got it.
what?
Yeah, rather than a
Ew.
super heartfelt I'm sorry and then he like sees her after the shoot and pays a visit to her, like does something sweet like that. No, instead it's like, here, I'll save your life with my dietary instructions and my
Oh,
workout plans.
Cancer, just here, I'll tell you how to beat that. It's easy. You just have to stop being a piece of shit. Here you go. It's like God, like Yeah, that there's a lot to unpack there, but I'll leave that at that.
There is somebody who's famous in this movie that was one of the mutants that I don't think you know who they are. This is mostly for our other listeners who are fans of a certain TV show.
Okay.
There's a mutant who was played by the actor Dean Norris. He's like the main mutant who's like, can't believe you'd show your face here again, Arnold. And then he gets shot in the arm and stuff.
Yeah.
He's an actor who is pretty well known in the TV world for doing one of the best shows of all time. I don't know if you'd know this or not.
Huh.
He plays the character of Hank, who's the cop in Breaking Bad. So for our Breaking Bad fans out there, one of the major characters, if you're a Breaking Bad fan, you'll be like, oh my gosh, Hank is in that movie. Hank is in that movie. I know it means nothing to you.
Means nothing
but I
to
felt
me
like I
yet.
have to share that with people because so many people love Breaking Bad.
Well,
so
you
much.
watched Breaking Bad. Were you
I did.
excited that it was Hank?
I thought he looked familiar, and then I looked it up. And I was like, oh shoot, that's Hank.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think you'll have fun with that if you love that show. Many of the women in this movie felt very uncomfortable with it.
Oh, no.
They thought that on set, they said their roles were diminutive and silly.
Yeah. Well, most of the women
Yep.
that are in this are either prostitutes,
Mm-hmm.
hookers, or
Mutants.
are mutants.
Just be basic mutants.
Or femme fatales who have to have sex to keep their cover.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not like a great uplifting it's not a great uplifting movie for women.
Sure.
I would say it does nothing to further the cause. That's for sure.
So let's talk about some of these random women parts, though. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Robot Lady.
Who's the robot lady?
The lady.
Oh
Go ahead,
my
explain
gosh, robot lady. So
Robot Lady.
This is used as a disguise essentially for Arnold when he gets onto Mars. And yeah, he dresses as this woman, this very tall, just large woman. And the costume starts to glitch or something like that starts to go wrong. I was trying to think of what horror movie it reminded me of. So it almost like this woman who is Arnold underneath starts pulling at her face and starts making these crazy bug eyes and stuff. It's so unnerving watching it. I couldn't figure it out what horror movie it looked like. Did it remind you of any horror movie?
No, it didn't.
Oh, it's something. I don't know if it'll come to me, but it was oh my God, I'm having flashbacks.
Well, if it comes to you, you should let us know.
Have you brought any fruits or vegetables onto the planet?
2 weeks.
Excuse me?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Horrifying.
I thought her acting was so crazy. It was bonkers. But I know it was supposed to be unnerving and big.
Yeah.
But she is a character actress. And so we had her. And then her head explodes or whatever and kills some people.
Very awesome.
And very cool. And then we had other moments too that were uncomfortable. So for Evil Sharon Stone, Paul Verhoeven loves nudity.
Yeah.
And he wanted desperately for Sharon Stone to show her boobies.
Yeah.
And so he kept trying to convince her to show her babas the entire shoot. And there were different moments during when Arnold comes back and she's practicing tennis and she does the whole thing. She's like, hey, you want to do it one more time for old time's sake? And she goes, you can tie me up or whatever with her straps of her tank top or whatever.
Yeah.
So she was supposed to show him her bobs at that moment.
Seriously?
Yep.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, not to if Sharon Stone didn't want to be naked, I did see the side of her breast at one point at the very beginning. I don't know if you did, but I did. So I did see it.
Well, and then he does Basic Instinct after this.
I know, and he didn't tell her about that shot.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
The flash shot.
So Basic Instinct, the famous shot where she's not wearing underwear and she crosses and uncrosses her leg.
He said it was going to be cut, right? It was going to be up?
Yeah, she didn't know that the angle was so low that you could see. It was just the idea of it. So that was, she didn't know that you could see it, which is just violates so many things. And it's an iconic scene, and it's unfortunate in that way that we kind of praise it and wow, wasn't that so crazy? It's yeah, but that actress didn't know what she was signing up for. That's not okay.
And I think would have been just as effective.
Oh, for sure.
Without it.
For
I don't
sure.
think. I think we still would be talking about it if we didn't see it. I think we'd still say like, wow, that was crazy that when she flashes him with her undercarriage.
Yeah, you say that, but I think there is something about it specific. It's
sure.
it's unfortunately like it's just almost too iconic because of it. Because you see it.
So one of the things that she said, she made a deal with him. She's like, I won't be naked in this, but afterwards, when we're doing the publicity tour, I'll pose for Playboy to help sell the movie.
I didn't know that's where we were going. But after this, I'll show everyone my boobs. I'll flash the whole set. No, she'll pose for Playboy. I mean, in some ways, like, part of it for me is kind of like, well, you know what? Yeah, good for you. Like, own that. Like, you control that. You make the paycheck off of that.
Yeah, I was going to
like,
say, you'll make money
otherwise,
off of that.
I'm showing it, and then you're going to make the money off of it. Like, I'm not going to get a pay bump for going topless in this movie.
For
like,
sure.
Yeah, like, I'm going to control that. If I'm comfortable with that, then this is my choice. Mm-hmm. So, good for Sharon Stone. Good for her.
Yep. Well, one thing about Sharon Stone, and you mentioned her being sexy femme fatale, and she got really into stage combat. She took taekwondo as well. She got into like a bunch of weightlifting and stuff and started to get jacked. And she got super into the fight scenes. They started calling her the female Terminator whenever they do stage combat. Here's what I'll say though. She throws some punches pretty goofy.
Yeah, a little high or a little not on target.
Not even that. I would say the targeting was fine. Her body is just a little awkward when she does kicks and punches.
Sure.
That she doesn't seem completely comfortable. I actually thought Nina is the much better natural combatant.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you picked up on any of that or not.
No, because you know me. Sometimes when we're fighting, I do glaze over a little bit. Not as much as like chase scenes, because there were a lot of those too. But sometimes I don't have the eye. My eyes don't switch on when combat gets started.
Sure.
Sometimes I go, okay.
Did you notice they overused like one move on Arnold a bunch whenever she was fighting him?
Well, yeah, she had to kick him in the nads over and over
She
again.
kicked him in the nuts 3 different times throughout this movie.
That's the only way she's gonna like. Have you seen Arnold? Like, what would you do? You would go for the eyeballs or the nads. Those are the only 2 points of weakness. There's nothing else to do.
I suppose she could have kicked him in the nuts once. Why do we have to do it 3 times? I felt like I was in a kid's movie. Like I was in a Nickelodeon movie.
Yeah, it's very rated R Nickelodeon movie. That's a good point.
So there was somebody, back to nudity though.
Back to it.
There was another person who got naked in this movie and showed off her not 6 breasticles tie, 3 breasticles.
The 3-breasted lady, yep.
Yep. Her name was Lisha Naff.
Okay.
And she was originally going to have 4 sets of chi-chis.
Wow.
4 sets of
Oh,
chi-chis.
wow.
They did a test run of it. And
She just looked like a cow.
exactly. The producer said she looks like a cow.
This is
That
not
looks like an
sexy.
udder. We
Now
gotta change
breasts
that
are
up.
not sexy objects. Now it's more about feeding people. I don't like that. Back to sex objects, please.
Yeah, because they look like big fakies too. So she was so embarrassed to have to do this.
Oh.
When she would wear the prosthetics and she was on set, she would just bawl.
Oh.
And then afterwards, they wanted her to go on the publicity tour, and she refused.
Yeah.
And including, they got her booked on The Tonight Show.
What?
They said, we've got a spot for you on The Tonight Show to publicize Total Recall. We want to push you as an actress. And she was like, no, I'm so ashamed of what I had to do. I want nothing to do with this movie.
Oh.
And so she didn't do it. She gave up The Tonight Show.
That's heartbreaking. Just that she was pushed to do something she was so uncomfortable with, and then didn't get to like have like a story where like she comes around and be like, yep, well, I never have to do that again because now I'm
A huge
at
star.
this level, you know.
Yep.
But that makes my heart hurt.
Yeah.
For her.
Film releases June 1st, 1990. Movie cost $65 million to make. Was the second highest budget ever of all time at that moment.
Oh my gosh, really?
To Rambo 3. Rambo 3 cost more. It cost 65, made just under $120 million. 25.5 mil opening weekend, released at number 1, beat out Back to the Future 3
Oh.
But you've never seen any of the Back to the Futures.
So number 3, no.
That's the Western one,
Okay.
in case you're curious.
Helpful.
And then it loses the next week to Another 48 Hours, which is a Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy movie.
Another 48
There's a
hours?
48 Hours movie, and then there's another 48 Hours, which
that's
is
the clever sequel
the
title?
clever sequel
Got
title.
it.
I've actually never seen either one, but here's some of the tags. How would you know if someone stole your mind? What would you do if someone stole your mind?
Sensing a pattern.
How would you know after memory implantation if your mind is yours? Okay, then generic action tag. Get ready for the ride of your life. And then here's my favorite.
Okay.
They stole his mind. Now he wants it back.
Ooh, that's my favorite.
That's easily the
That's
best.
I think that's the best one. Those other ones are hot garbage.
Okay.
Okay.
This is going to be
now
fun.
let's really get to it. What is it?
What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score is?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. There are so many things about this that I want to give it props where it deserves props.
Sure.
So, but
Yep.
the general concept of it is fascinating, right?
Uh-huh.
The idea of the memory loss,
Alien,
no.
releasing oxygen, making Mars habitable.
I would have
super
left,
cool.
I would have left a lot of that out.
More
Honestly,
mutants.
The memory thing on its own stands alone. Like you don't even need Mars and this other world that's lacking oxygen. Like it's
You know
just
what's
it
interesting?
raises the stakes, and yet it
You
just doesn't
say
need it.
that, but I haven't seen the Colin Farrell one, but I think the remake with Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
I think that's what they do. I don't think they do all the Mars and the mutant stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's all
They
just
just
the
keep
memory
it
part.
just that part
and
of
that
it?
movie did awful.
Oh, so does
It
that
scored
mean-
like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was
So-
one of the biggest flops ever. It cost way
Yeah.
too much money, and it didn't make shit.
Yeah.
So you say that, but I actually don't know if it's reality.
I guess the stakes needed to be high.
We
so
need
high
more
and so
Mars.
complex. So okay, well that was a hint. So you're saying if that one did bad, then this one must have done well.
You tell me.
I don't know. I'm gonna throw out 54%.
Higher.
No. 71%.
Higher.
89.
Lower.
Oh.
82%.
Okay. 82%.
Audience score?
Higher, probably.
78%. Actually lower.
A little discerning there. Good
So-
for you guys.
Here's what the critics say. Under Paul Verhoeven's frenetic direction, Total Recall is a fast-paced rush of violence, gore, and humor that never slacks.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Listen to this critic review. Total Recall is too much, but it's too much of a good thing. Entertainment Weekly.
Oh, good old YouTube.
Okay, here's the next one. A gratuitous explosion of vainglory and guts. The movie is all firecrackers and giblets and broken glass. The overall effect is like wading through hospital waste. Washington Post.
Hospital waste.
Yep.
That's so specific.
It is. It really is.
Hospital waste.
Yeah, I also did like vainglory and guts, firecrackers, giblets. I was like, this is a total Washington Post review.
Giblets. I have to Google what a giblet is.
This movie won an Oscar.
For special effects?
You got it.
Yeah.
It was a special achievement at the time. They actually didn't give a special effects Oscar.
Oh, okay.
And so they made a special achievement award for this movie because everybody was so impressed with it in 1990.
Wow.
Yep.
That is saying something. But I will say, if what I take away from it, I was very impressed with the special effects for the time. And honestly, I'm guessing, like we said, a lot of them were either practical effects with like puppets, which just age so much better than anything you could do CGI. Like if this was CGI, it'd be terrible.
It would be terrible.
It would be awful. So the fact that they did so much, I want to give props to that, because I do think a lot of the things that they were able to do were really cool and aged well for the most part.
Yeah. Kuato looks awesome.
Kuato has never been more greasy looking.
Open your mind, Arnold.
We have to find a picture of this thing. Like it's the stuff of nightmares, you guys. It's just like I think I've dreamed about this thing before. Like
Okay, I want to give you a hypothetical. You have a baby,
no.
and when it comes out, it looks just like Kuato.
Oh my god.
And they go, the baby needs to feed.
Does it have those teeth?
Yeah, it has those things.
No, absolutely not.
What are you? You're gonna just let it
They
die?
have formula? They have things to feed it? I'm not sure. It's gonna eat me.
They're like, don't you want to nurture it? Don't you want to be a mother to this baby?
Oh god, with those
It's greasy. It's got all that weird hair. And it even goes, Rachel, I need to feed.
Oh, I hate this.
Open your mind.
This is like you've come up with some doozies of hypotheticals. This is the worst hypothetical you've ever given me. Ever. Of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Good God.
So just to reiterate, the remake got a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
But it's got Jessica Biel and Kate Beckinsale
I
in it.
know.
Like, how bad could it have been?
I know.
That is, oh my gosh. Wow.
well, and,
so hot. And Colin Farrell.
I say he's not hard on the eyes.
No,
Like,
Colin Farrell's super
that
hot.
would be very attractive.
What a sexy trio.
And they're all fighting each other. Like that's
yeah,
kind of cool.
I know, right?
I'd be
Are
into
you kind of intrigued about what the sequel does?
Yeah, I
Or
am
the
actually.
remake? I kind of am too. I think I'm going to put it on my list to watch.
I think we should watch it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can watch it, but I think I'm more interested in watching that now than I ever have been
Yeah.
because I would just be fascinated to see what it would do.
And what'd you do wrong?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you mess up?
How did you fall?
How'd you become one of the biggest flops in cinematic
If this
history?
one set up this like amazing spike for you and you just
Mhm.
kind of whiff it, like
Yeah.
you could have learned so much
I think
from what this did wrong.
for Colin Farrell as like the leading man, the big action star, Alexander was obviously like his first big like this sucks, you are the worst.
Oh,
like,
big flop.
Yeah, big flop. And then I think Total Recall was like the final nail in the coffin.
Oh.
And now now he's found ways to like do more indie films and things.
Hmm.
And then he's like gone and done some like European films, like he did some Irish films and stuff. And then he was just the Penguin in Batman. So he's found a way to revitalize his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Oh yeah.
Super
Yep.
cool, huh?
Forgot about that.
So, I mean, he's found a way to recover from
Yeah.
that terrible film.
Yeah, and Beckinsale, you know, she recovered and she dated Pete
Davidson.
for a bit.
Yep. So
her career's never been hotter. Same with Beale. Jessica Biel has been just on fire. Actually, to be fair, she's doing the best out of all three of them.
yeah.
She's had a lot of like good shows that have come out, like Preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called? I think.
The Preacher, the comic
Yeah,
book
she was
one?
nominated for it, and then I think she's also doing some producing and directing. So honestly, she thinks she's thriving.
But remember, we can't forget when Jessica Biel said, yeah, it sucks not getting cast because I'm so hot. So it's hard being the sexy girl because nobody wants to cast you because I'm just too sexy.
Whoa, over me.
To be fair, she didn't say those exact words, but it was pretty much the summation of what
The
she said.
sentiment was there.
Because I'm too hot for Hollywood.
too hot for this movie.
You're gonna cast Natalie Portman instead of me because she's not as hot as I am.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yeah, she mentioned Natalie Portman was like a comp. It's her and somebody else. She's like, yeah, I want to get these roles like Natalie Portman and somebody and so and so, but it's because I'm just too attractive that I don't get these roles. No joke. She was comping herself to Natalie Portman. I remember that from the quote.
I think Natalie Portman's like one of the most beautiful people on earth.
She is higher than Jessica Biel on my list of hot
Easy.
chicks.
I think most people would say that. I who knows, whatever, to each his own. But like to say like, yeah, that's why she's a more serious actor, but she's not as hot as he is. Like, well, I don't know.
I think you could probably just say Natalie Portman beating you because she's a better actress.
Well, you'd have to do a lot of like self-reflecting to be able to say something like
That's
that.
true.
So.
That's true.
Do the work, Jessica. Do the work.
And break up with JT. All right. So there is a sequel to this movie.
Oh.
It's not a
okay.
direct sequel,
Okay.
but it exists in the same universe, the same world. It's canon with this movie.
Love that.
We talked about this the very first episode of Summer's Off this season. We
Oh.
talked about a movie.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this movie because we were talking about Tom Cruise in Braces.
Yeah. Is it the wizard movie he was in?
No.
With the unicorns?
No, not
That's
the
not
unicorns.
canon
The Last
here.
of the Unicorns
Oh, okay.
or whatever. No.
Dang it.
Nope. It was a movie that came out in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Sci-fi, very mind-based.
Minority Report.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go on a limb here. It's been honestly like 20 years.
Sure. Yeah, it came
Since
out in
I've seen it.
2001. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
God, that's whoa.
Yeah,
20 years
I
since
know.
I've seen this
We were like
film.
in early high school, late middle school.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I maybe never want to wear contacts, but I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
Is it? Did it?
I don't know.
Did I not
No,
remember
I thought the
it?
same thing.
Okay.
But we were the same age, so neither one of us can be trusted.
Probably need to watch it again.
I still was thinking that chick was blonde with 6 breasts. So like we can't trust our memories. We cannot trust our memories. So just to throw that out to you.
So Minority Report
is
the same world
same
as
world.
this.
Yep.
Oh,
It's canon.
And that one didn't. How did Minority Report do? Did you look that up?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Best movie of all time, I think.
Honestly.
Most money and highest rating. They
Most
actually
profitable.
they gave it 101% because just to prove that it's better than every other movie. That's how I remember it. It's kind of like The Mummy. Same exact thing. Do you remember The Mummy being really good when you were a kid too?
Yeah.
What about Austin Powers?
So good.
Yeah, me too.
So good.
What about the first Ace Ventura?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing,
Yeah,
right?
so
What about
fun.
Hook?
Love Hook.
Super good.
Still love it.
These movies might all be shit, but to me,
No.
they all hold up.
Impossible. They were classics then, classics now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it makes. You know what I wanted to? I want to watch Minority Report too
Oh,
after
okay.
this because there's definitely that feel of it, that being like
Yeah.
chased and having to figure out
What's real and what's not.
what's
What's
not.
being manipulated.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This movie almost had an X rating
Whoa.
because of all the gratuitous violence.
And the 8 udders.
No, the udders didn't impact it actually.
Amazing. I thought you could
Yeah.
only have so many breasts in a show before your ex.
How funny would that be if they're like, "Hey, when you show 3 people naked, you have to get an X rating." And they're like, "What if we show 1 person naked, but they have 3 sets of genitalia?" It's like, that's tricky. We'll
get
give
back-
you
we'll get back to you
We'll
on
give
that
you a
one.
person and a half. For that. They're like, "Oh, don't worry, we're only gonna give her 3 breasts instead of 6, so
Never
we're
mind.
so we're good.
This
We don't have to
looks-
worry about the X rating."
This looks much better.
So they actually just cut down some of the gratuitous violence by like a few seconds. They didn't cut any actual act. Like if somebody got shot in the head or something.
Yeah, it
instead
kept it.
of staying on their head as blood dripped down their forehead
yeah,
with a
yeah.
bullet hole, they were just like, you got shot in the head, you see it for a split second, and then we move on. And that's all it took to get rid of the X rating. Rach, what's your favorite X-rated film?
I don't know the X-rated films. Do you have some? Can you list them and I can tell you if I've seen them?
I should have done that research for that question.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I don't.
Because I can't think of any, but I'm sure that I maybe at some point have seen something
Oh, okay.
that was like, I can't even think of like
Oh,
an
I'm sure you have, you dirty girl.
I was gonna say I can't think of like even like an NC-17.
Oh,
like,
I
film.
bet you can't. Yeah, right.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you're watching Cinemax late at night, aren't you? You crazy girl. Rach, what was your favorite kill?
God, that's just the epitome of this film. Like, what was your favorite kill? Whose head did you love to see explode? These are the hard hitting questions of Total Recall. Who was my favorite kill?
Yep.
I think I liked. There was a character who was kind of interesting to me. He was the cab driver who turns kind of villain. We think he's a friend, but then he's not. And he's in this big tank at the end, and he's trying to like drill a hole.
I was just thinking. Thinking back to our 3-breasted gal who hated doing what she had to do.
Yeah.
And then that guy sitting there, and he's like fondling her breasts in one of the scenes. Remember that?
Yeah.
Ah,
Can
that
I
makes it
ask-
even worse.
Can I ask you a weird question?
Yeah,
And
yep.
it doesn't really, I guess, matter. But like, were any of those breasts actually her breasts?
I don't know. It's just prosthetic.
Or were they
breasts.
all prosthetic?
So I think they were all 3 prosthetic, but I don't know for sure.
That was so weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to have like to be topless in a film, but it's another thing to like have somebody else like grope somebody.
I know.
It was weird. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
And not like as a part of like a love scene where like that can kind of just like happen between the two actors, but
Yep.
it was very much like she's just like this hunk of meat and he's just like over here just like playing with them. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just, it made me feel weird.
Yeah, for sure. Especially knowing the backstory of the actress, I think it makes you feel really sad.
Now it
for
makes
her.
me feel even sadder.
Sorry, didn't mean to off-road you, but
that asshole. So he's driving a tank at the very end,
Yep.
and he's kind of drilling into something, and then Arnold gets a jackhammer or
it's like a big screw gun.
a big screw gun somehow,
Yep.
yeah, and then like
A
drills
drill
into
bit,
the
yeah.
tank, and he essentially like drills him to death.
And I think he says, "Screw you."
yeah, that was obviously my favorite death.
Yeah.
Also, the people exploding outside, like when your insides come out when you're
Uh-huh.
in Mars's atmosphere, that was pretty great too. Seeing the exploding faces,
Yep.
that was fun.
I'll tell you what my favorite death is.
Please.
Towards the beginning of him realizing that like his normal life is gone and he's running away from the recall place and trying to get to Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
Or no, it's after he's been with Sharon Stone. He's trying to escape. He's going up an escalator and they're like, "Hey, go up the escalator and we'll catch him on the other side." And he sees them coming up. And he like
Yes.
positions a guy
Yes.
to get shot by them, and then he shoots these dudes, and then he positions the guy on the other side while they're shooting at him from the other direction. He positions the guy over there, and so the guy just keeps getting shot to like a pulp.
Yeah,
the guy's just getting destroyed
he's
as
like
a human
a body
shield.
armor for
Yep.
him.
Yep, and he's using him to like pick off these guys.
Let me honest, that's not how that works. I think bullets can go through two bodies.
It can,
Right?
yeah,
So
depending
we're
on
like
the
using
caliber
him
and
as
stuff.
like
for sure.
this like Kevlar vest, but he is not. But I do love it though that like it takes nothing for him to just like toast all of these guys who are wearing Kevlar vests.
Yep.
He just like picks
Yeah,
them off like
their
so
body
easily.
armor helps them zero.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
Future body armor is garbage.
It
you guys.
really is, yeah.
Will do absolutely nothing for you.
So I like that death. I like Michael Ironside's death too. He gets his arms chopped off on an elevator and falls to his
Oh,
death.
yeah.
That one's fun.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yep.
There's the random guy as Schwarzenegger is just running. He pushes off of an escalator.
Oh yeah,
That's
he goes,
a fun
"Hey,
one.
come on!"
Yeah, he probably didn't die, but like that's a great injury.
Yeah,
I think.
we talked about how we'd love to be that actor.
Yeah.
Be like, "Hey, push me off this
Hey,
staircase. That'd be
hey,
fun."
Mr. Schwarzenegger, do you think you could like push me and I like fall and it'd be kind of funny? Do you think could we add that?
Oh yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Great idea.
It's back. I found it.
Oh my gosh, Rach, how many people do you think died in this movie?
Oh, not enough.
What's the body count?
Not enough. Is there a body count? Do you
I've got a
have
body count.
a real body count.
I've got a number.
Somebody did the work. That's really impressive.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna just 56.
More.
72.
Really close. 77.
Yes, I felt it. Oh, it's so close. That's incredible.
All right. I want to get a little deep for a second. Let's slow it down with a little deep thoughts with Ty and Rach. Okay. Paul Verhoeven says, this is a deeper movie than you could ever imagine. Because this movie, he says, is like Inception. It has layers upon layers that makes you question reality and wonder what really just happened.
Yeah. I mean, at the very end of it, we still don't know.Maybe that was still his vacation, his dream.
Yeah.
Maybe the whole thing was just a dream.
So they programmed the programming going wrong and all that stuff happened, which is really
that's
brilliant.
that's a part of the story.
Really brilliant creative programming. Like
Yeah.
that's
Crazy
awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and to use your
I see
own
that.
wife to like be a bad guy and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could
pretty
see
cool.
that. I like that.
What if you found out that I had done the recall and in it you became a villain and I ended up with this other chick in the recall that I thought was a memory and I wake up from it and you're like, what was the story? And then you like go to the place and they're like, here's what the story is. And you were like, what?
You did. What?
How mad are you? 1 to 10.
Well, you killed me. I'm very mad. I'm probably a 10.
Yeah?
Probably an 11, to be frank with you. You killed me in your vacation fantasy.
But I didn't know that's what it was going to be. I didn't like create that detail. They programmed it.
Yeah, but the fact that like you secretively went to this like recall place and had a vacation without me. You went on vacation without me?
Wait, is that what you're most mad about?
That's what I'm most mad about. I wanted to go on a cruise to Saturn. They talk about this in there, and I wrote that down. It's like, ooh, cruise to Saturn. That sounds fun. And you went without me because you were so like disheartened with your life, like, I just have to get away for a bit and go on this fantasy all by myself, and I'm not going to tell anybody about it.
And then you find out that I killed you.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that you could be mad about is that I built my perfect girl, and she looked nothing like it.
Yeah, I would also be upset about that.
Okay, Rach.
Okay, what?
Build your perfect guy. You're at the machine.
It's not even fair.
What do you mean?
Because it's not fair. Because I'm
Why
like,
is it not fair?
maybe someone who's tall, a little on the slimmer side, dark and handsome. Come on.
Yeah, but you'd end up with a guy who's way cooler than me.
Stop.
Okay, so back to this. Was it a dream or was it not?
Yeah.
Where do you think?
What's
What's he say at the very end of the movie?
What does he say at the very end of the movie?
He goes, "What if this is all just a dream?" And then what's she say?
Then kiss me, you fool, before you wake up.
Yeah.
Something like that. Kiss
Yep.
me before you wake up.
So cool.
You idiot. I think there's something in there like
You
that.
big Dumbo.
You big Dumbo. You big dumbhead. Kiss me.
I can't believe it. It's like a dream. What's wrong?
I just had a terrible thought. What if this is a dream?
Well, then kiss me quick before you wake up.
Yeah, I think it's fun to not have that answered.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was what it was, and it really was a
Like that really happened?
that really happened. Yeah, like a mixeroo or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I love the idea of keeping that open and being like, well, was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wasn't. I would just think that would be a really terrible story for them to like peddle as Total Recall, to like have you like kill your wife and do all that. It's like, well,
And like your coworker,
it's
they're
really
like,
a terrible idea.
Kill one of your best coworkers too.
Mhm,
He
yeah.
was evil too.
So that when you
I'll
come
let
out
you
of that,
assign it.
yeah, that's a bit grotesque. So,
So here's one of the things, the arguments about how it can't be a dream. Because this is pretty split, like amongst the fans.
oh, there's
They're
some
pretty much
debate on
50-50.
this?
Oh, huge debate. Like people argue about it on the message boards. I was literally
Still?
on Total Recall message boards last night after you fell asleep.
Oh my gosh.
Looking through people's comments, and I was like, yeah, man, it's about 50-50.
The war is still raging.
So here's my thing of why it has to be real and not a dream. Because the movie concentrates too much on characters that have nothing to do with Arnold, that are like chasing after him and stuff. We learn too much about those characters that I'm like, why would we even care about that if we were in the recall? You know what I mean? Like, why would you like be exiting your own brain and mind to see what's going on this other storyline? You know, as the bad guys prepare for you to get you and stuff.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
So that part, I think, is the part that I'm like, that doesn't really make sense unless you're just on like a cinematic adventure and it's not like you're really living it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also confused about the recall stuff. Do you go into like a comatose state for 2 weeks while you're on this vacation? Or do you just get this 2 weeks of memories that then like you, right when you leave that shop like an hour later, you're walking around and it's like for 2 weeks you went on vacation?
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I thought it
wasn't
was,
thinking
too.
it was a check-in for 2 weeks thing. It was more
It's not
like
like-
here's the memories of 2 weeks.
Do you remember that movie Vanilla Sky?
Vaguely, yeah.
That
was
one's
kind of
like
a trippy one.
you sit in a chair and you're in like a comatose state while you
Yeah.
go through these memories
a
and
little
stuff.
psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I liked the psychological thriller aspect of this. I
Uh-huh.
thought that was a very interesting avenue to go down.
Okay.
And then we just bashed its brains out and
Okay.
exploded it everywhere.
Well, maybe the new one you'll like it then,
Maybe
because
I'll
like I said,
like
I
it
don't
more.
think we
Maybe
get
I'll
too
be
crazy.
one of the weirdos who like the remake.
Listen to this original ending they had penned,
'Kay.
and tell me if you can make sense of it. I actually have trouble like kind of grasping what's going on.
Okay.
Originally, the three-fingered Martian handprint seen at the end of the film was supposed to be Quaid. That's Arnold's non-bad guy character. Quaid, right? That's his name.
Yes.
It's supposed to be Quaid's handprint. So it's his own handprint waiting for him.
Oh.
Quaid was supposed to be a human that got killed by the implant machine and was made into a synthetic replica. And the only way to control him is to erase his memory. And then when he places his hand on that device, he has recall and he gets his memory back. What?
Wait, is he So what?
What is going on? What's that ending?
Was he a robot? Is that what you said?
Well, yeah.
Did you say robot?
Well, that was the original ending.
Yeah.
Is like he got killed, and then they erased his memory to like control him. It's like we're gonna kill this guy.
Okay.
We're gonna make a synthetic version of him, so we can control him and use him. And then he touches the thing, and then he gets his memories back.
It's just too much. It's just, oh God, I can't even. These are not bad ideas in and of themselves, but when I've already gone on this crazy journey with all these other stories, like there are like 5 different movies here, and they think some of them could be good. Some of them could be good.
Sure.
All I have to say about that.
This takes place in 2084, by the way. So you've got a little over 60 years till this. We might live to this moment in time.
I feel good about that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think you'll make it?
Yeah, probably.
When-
I want to go on the cruise to Saturn.
Yeah. But with your perfect guy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, the memory of that.
Okay, so I want to make sure that we hit some of these moments. Johnny cabs.
Yeah,
Talk about
there
Johnny cabs.
are cabs in the future. Not unlike your Ubers of today, but they are by robots, which is probably, I mean, in some worlds, not that far off either.
Sure.
Where they just like pop up and they try to make small talk with you.
They creeped me out as a kid.
Oh yeah, they're definitely creepy. Well, one explodes and goes on fire
For no reason.
They're supposed to be creepy.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like a feel good. They're supposed to. It's like a 50s style. Kind of a guy that drives at the robot is, and he's like, "Hi, where'd he go?" And then at one point he's on fire. So yeah, it's meant to be kind of creepy, I believe. I love movies. I think I've said this before, but that play to the future, and then there's and sometimes they get a couple of things right. Like all of the phone calls were all video, so it's all like a bunch of FaceTime screens essentially, which was kind of cool. I guess that was probably the biggest thing. And then you have these cabs that just are self-driving and drive around. You can still get a cab driver, a real person, but it's so automated. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
What'd you think of the club music?
What was the club music? I'm trying to remember what it sounded like.
You were laughing about it. You're like, this music.
Yeah. It's super goof. It was was there Western in it? I don't remember. It was weird. It was weird,
it was super bizarre.
80s, very 80s sounding, but 80s trying to pretend like it's in 2084. Very, more future 80s than the 80s is.
One of my favorite moments in this entire movie is when the bad guy realizes he's not going to be able to save his friend Arnold, and he's actually got to kill him. He's like, "Oh shoot, he escaped again. He didn't get his memories back. He killed all my scientists. I've got to actually kill my best friend." And then what's he do after that, Rach?
I don't remember.
He kicks over his goldfish tank.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was a dramatic moment.
Super
and all these
dramatic.
goldfish are just gasping for air on the ground, and I was like, "Oh, I bet some of those guys died," and that makes me sad.
Yeah.
And why am I thinking about that right now? I should be thinking about the movie, but I'm thinking about these
You
goldfish.
should be thinking about how are we going to get air to all these mutants. Did you have a favorite mutant, by the way?
Not really.
No?
No, it didn't do. Why would I have a favorite mutant? What did the movie do to make me or care about anybody?
Well, you had Hank off Breaking Bad, whose face is half gone.
Yeah.
You had the psychic woman. You had the little psychic girl.
Sure, I'm supposed to care about her, but I don't.
Little psychic girls.
But I don't.
Well, because you only see her twice.
Yeah.
Then you had 3 breasts.
I
you
feel bad for
you
her.
had the dwarf girl.
Is she supposed to be a mutant?
I don't know. She hangs out with the mutants.
Yeah,
So I think
that's true.
she is supposed to. There was people who looked completely normal that were hanging with the mutants, but we're supposed to feel like they're mutants too.
Yeah. No,
You didn't care about anybody?
who'd you care about in this movie?
No
Did
one.
you care about anybody?
No.
Yeah. The movie did nothing to make me care about. I didn't even care about what's his butt.
I like Nina.
Yeah.
I cared about her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just thought she seems pretty cool, and she's a good fighter. I like her combat.
Yeah.
It made me care about her because she's a good fighter.
Good. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't care about anybody.
Do you want to talk some acting talk?
Yeah. I'm curious. Do you think there was some ad-libbing?
By Arnold for
I
sure.
didn't write anything down, but I was like, oh, I wonder.
Yeah, it's very possible. Yep, especially with Arnold's creative control. I think that's very probable.
Highly probable.
Yep. So you already mentioned you didn't like Arnold.
Yeah.
You said that you thought Sharon Stone was terrible, but she was awesome at the same time.
It wasn't her best. I wouldn't say she was like terrible, but
Okay.
she's been better. She was like maybe like if she can be like an 8, she might be like a 9. She was probably like a 5 in this as far as her acting.
I'd be curious to think what you think of her performance in Casino. She's a pretty interesting character in the movie Casino.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's long. It's like 3.5 hours. 4
3.5
hours.
hours?
Dude, it's so long. It's Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, and it's a Scorsese.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting plot line. I am not crazy about it, but I think Sharon Stone's pretty good in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'd like her.
Yeah.
So who's your star in this movie? Who did the best job? What actor or actress?
Probably what's his butt? The Blade. No.
Blade.
What's his last name?
Ironside?
Ironside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we go. That's why. I said
Ironside.
Blade Runner. Nope, that's not it. What
He sounds
is
like
it?
a Viking. Like he's from he's
Ironside.
Nordic.
Yeah, it does. Or like a Game of Thrones character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought he was the best.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I do too. I actually agree
you?
with you 100%. Michael Ironside. He's the best. Yep. Okay, we're ready to kick it to some of your stuff.
Yeah, let me check my list because honestly, we've hit a lot of it.
Yep.
Talked about loving future movies, love space cruises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, my biggest thing was the very end when they finally Arnold puts his handprint on the thing and we're like, oh, cool, we're gonna maybe see if this ancient alien machine works and it's gonna make all of Mars oxygenated. The amount of time and the cutaways to like the breaking glass and the exploding rocks, like I didn't start a timer, but to my body, it felt like that was like a half an hour. It felt so, and from the time that he hits it to the time that they get like kicked outside and their like faces are bulging and they're getting ready to die, I would imagine, to the very end, it was so long at that point. I was so done. I was so done. I just was ready for it. Yeah, I was ready for it to be done. But it drug me along for like the last 30 minutes.
Sure. Oh, well, it wasn't 30 minutes.
No, it was probably 10 minutes. But
I
it
was
felt
going to say,
like
it
30.
was probably just the last 10, 15. But I feel you. I hear you.
Yeah.
It was a long sequence.
A long sequence.
It was.
We saw
But
like every
here's what we needed to
city
see.
on Mars we saw.
We need to see the structure fire up.
Yeah.
We need to see it lower down towards the ice. We need to see fire start on the edge of like the end of it. And we need to see it sink into the ice and crack it open and start to heat it up. We need to see steam rise. We saw the steam start to break through the mountain. We need to see that steam kind of turn into oxygen, like another thing kind of burst over the mountain, like a volcano of oxygen flying out. We need to see windows blow up. We need to see lots of wind in the mutant's hair. We need to see eyes bulging. We need to see a lot of things. It was a whole story.
See, even just like listening to you describe that to me,
that feel so long?
That felt really long to me. That also felt like that was 5 minutes too long. And I know you were talking for like 25 seconds, but
Yeah.
that was 5 minutes of you explaining that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So beware, audience, of the final sequence. Maybe play it on 2 times speed.
Ooh, 2 times speed. There you go.
Yep.
Oh, but don't miss the bulging though. And
Yeah.
because you're right, that was great.
Super fun.
That was so fun. Her too. She
Yeah.
was also like
Yep.
bulging and screaming.
For
It
sure.
was, as an actor, boy, like think about like the most challenging things you've ever had to do. That would be up there. Doing that
For
for half an hour probably, just writhing in pain and screaming. Yeah, I don't know. What are some of your favorite parts? What are parts that you remember as a kid that you were like, oh wow, that's awesome?
Well, I told you about the parts I remembered as a kid. I remembered the nose thing,
Yes, yeah.
the nose clamp, 3 breasts, and I remembered the baby, the greasy baby. Those were the moments that really stuck with me.
Sure. But like
Yep.
favorites or favorite bits? in it?
No, not necessarily. One thing I liked in this one is when he finally shoots Sharon Stone in the head, and he goes and he says,
Bye, baby.
No.
No.
Consider this a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
Honey, you wouldn't hurt me, would you, sweetheart? Sweetheart, be reasonable. After all, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
Can you give it to us?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Consider this a divorce.
Nope. Nope.
okay.
I didn't feel it halfway
Yeah,
through.
I know.
It's hard. I can't get back into it.
Yeah. It comes to you randomly.
It will.
Yep.
I'm surprised. I watched the movie all last night. I should just be fluent in Arnold right now, but it's just I'm struggling.
Yeah, you just need a couple more films under your belt, I think, to get prepped for it.
Yep.
So I don't know. The gratuitous violence I think is kind of entertaining, but yeah, nothing. There's not like a moment that's gonna like stick with me besides those ones I kind of already mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome.
What'd you think?
You want to know what I thought?
I do.
What I
you-
really thought?
Or do you want to know what I thought?
Sure.
You want to know what I thought first?
Go for it.
Okay.
Give it to me.
This is the first time where I felt like I needed to write a summary as the host. Usually we just give the percentage of the person who's the host.
Yeah.
And the person who's reviewing it gives the summary.
Yeah, let's hear.
But here's what I wrote. Absolute mayhem. Is it good? No. It's great. Is it bad? Absolutely. It's atrocious. It's my first dual score movie that I've ever made. I gave it a 40% and an 80%.
What?
So we're going to average it out to a 60%, making it above I Know What You Did Last Summer and below P.S. I Love You.
Wow.
This movie will now sit at the cross section of fresh and rotten for me that I will have to say to myself, is it better than Total Recall or is it worse than Total Recall? While also wrestling with myself saying, is Total Recall 60% or is it lower? So it'll be constant conflict.
Yeah, you're gonna have to ask yourself those hard questions.
Yeah.
That is.
Yep.
Wow. Future you is doomed. I don't know what you're gonna do.
It was a real dichotomous feeling that I walked away with. I felt conflict in my soul.
As a good movie should make you feel.
Yeah. Yep.
You
You're right.
think?
I'm raising it 85%.
Oh my god. That's incredible.
Tied with Can't Hardly Wait.
Incredible. What? No.
I'm just kidding.
It can't. And honestly,
That's
the
a
fact
joke.
that
That's
you
a joke.
have it above I Know What You Did Last Summer, that's crazy to me. That's such a good movie. What are you waiting for?
I know.
It's so good.
It is. It is.
That's
But
a slap in the face
that-
to Jennifer Love You slapped her in the face.
No, I
just now.
didn't. No, I
You
didn't.
did it.
And I kissed that cheek with Can't Hardly Wait. I just gave her a kiss on that slapped face. I was like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, because I Know What You Did Last Summer didn't have enough death in it.
What? It
didn't have enough
better.
kills.
It didn't need it because it had suspense.
It needed
It
to
was
show.
good.
It needed to show more of the gore.
It had hooks.
And-
what else do you
And
want?
that's what I'll say about this movie. This movie showed the gore.
Oh God.
It showed the violence. We saw the goods. All three of them.
There it is. That's the tag. That's what you lead with. Oh man. Okay. Well, that's gonna be really hard to follow, but I will give you my take
Go
on this.
for it.
All right.
Yep.
Somewhere under all of the atrocious acting, horrifying latex masks, and convoluted plot, there's a story that's probably worth telling. Nah, forget that. 7%.
Rach, is this better than Big Trouble in Little China?
This is slightly better than that, and yet worse than Ladybugs.
Oh my! It's worse than Ladybugs.
It's worse than Ladybugs.
If you were gonna watch a movie again between this and Ladybugs,
Ladybugs.
you pick Ladybugs.
Ladybugs. And honestly, I watched Big Trouble in Little China, but I had that at 2%, and it's really hard to I probably need to raise that to 5.
Oh, okay. So Big Trouble in Little China is
Yeah,
maybe getting
this
raised
is
to 5%.
right in between Ladybugs and Friday the 13th, the remake.
Wait, so Friday the 13th remake is below this?
Yeah. That's out of 5 because I never want to see that again. It's horrifying.
Oh, okay.
It's too scary.
Yep. Okay.
Good movie, but too scary. Can't
Yeah.
watch it. 5%. No, this is at a 7. This is at 7%.
Okay.
This is like, I know that's blasphemous probably to a lot of people. I'm going to get a lot of hate on this, but guys, this movie is garbage. It doesn't mean it couldn't have been.
Yeah.
There are some things that are cool, and that's why I gave it a 7. That's why it's not 0. It's not 0%.
I wonder if this is the farthest away we've ever been.
It has to be. It has to be.
53 percentage point differential?
That's crazy.
That's
huge.
wild. Well, no, Friday the 13th. Because I think I had
Oh,
that like
sure.
a 70 something, and I think I had that 75, and you give it a 5. So that's 70%.
Yeah, there you go.
Scary movies will probably always be like that for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think
Wow.
the movie would be boring if it didn't have all the craziness? If it was just exploring this like
But
memory
that's
thing?
so interesting, and I think there should be more to it than that. Like,
Uh-huh.
but I just when you talk about aliens and you talk about this like these minerals and these mutants and this other world and they're all hookers and then he erased his own brain, but he's best friends with the main bad guy, and I'm missing things. There's so much more that I'm missing here. It's just so convoluted. 80 people wrote the script, and it shows so much. It's like everyone took a page. You know what this is? This is like when you do round robin storytelling.
we've got a rage rage.
Rage rant.
Rage rage.
Rage
Rage
rant.
rage.
Rage.
Rage rage.
This is when you play that game where you all tell a story in a circle, and someone starts the story, and it's like, ooh, this is really good.
The
And
theater game.
yeah, the theater game, sure. And then the first 3 people tell it, and then it gets great. And then you get those little assholes at the end of it, and they just ruin it. And you're like, no, that's not where we were going with the story. Oh, now it's convoluted. It's a stupid story. That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is the epitome of that game. It started off so strong. I want you to know, I was in it to win it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just started to lose me. When we got to Mars, I was just like, okay.
I can tell when you play like that game or even telephone and things like that. I can tell that you have like a specific idea and a plan, and you start that game with your plan, and you're like, everybody, you better fall in line. This plan is a good one.
No.
This is great. And then it starts to go different directions and get like somebody creative is like, oh, I'm going to throw this out there. That would be cool, right? And you're like, gosh dang it, you ruined the plan. I could just tell that's who you are.
Okay. This movie is bad. I am a control freak, but that is beside the point. That is not what this is.
Rach will, in group projects, say to people, just give the whole project to me. I'll do it over the weekend by myself because I don't want any of you guys ruining it.
No.
That is Rach.
no.
Yes, you do. You
not
do that.
to the full extent. I don't
You do
say that.
Yeah, I know you don't say
I
it, but that's what
think
you
it.
do.
I feel
You're
it.
like, I'll
Yeah.
just do everybody's homework because you guys are going to screw it up, and it will be perfect if I do it.
Well, you guys, how many group projects have you done? They're the worst. Group projects are the worst. For me, they're the worst.
See, and that's funny because I'm like, my section's going to be awesome. You guys can do whatever you want, and your sections might suck. That's your problem. But my stuff's going to be real good.
Yeah. No, this movie, I have control issues, but that is not why this movie is bad. This movie is bad because this movie is bad.
80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I disagree. I don't think I've ever disagreed with Rotten Tomatoes so strongly.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
this is
that
probably
might be...
where we're the furthest away. Sometimes
Yeah.
I find myself almost being like a little swayed. Like if I see the Rotten Tomato score before I give mine, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it's better than that. Or like, yeah, no, this is garbage. I hate it too.
Yep.
I feel very strong in my convictions with this one, and I'm giving props to myself for keeping a firm
Good.
5%. I strongly disagree with that.
Yeah.
The special effects are awesome.
Uh-huh.
I can admit that. The special effects are probably closer to like an 80%. I
Sure.
think that's really cool what they did with that. But this movie's garbage. It's too complicated. It's too convoluted. They didn't know what they were doing. It needs a remake. I can't wait to watch the remake. I want to watch Minority Report, and I want to watch the remake.
Oh, well, that's good. It got you like Jones in to watch those movies.
I just want to see, like, can this be told correctly? Maybe.
Folks, when we get a Rage on the podcast, so fun. So fun.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, what's mine? Mine's a tyrant.
There's a lot of a tirade, tyrant. I like tyrant.
Yeah. Yep. And you're a Rage. Oof. So fun. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
that was Total Recall. And just to also thank you to our listeners for hanging in there with me last week when I was on my fast.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a little loopy, and
was-
Rach totally carried it, and I was just a little like glazed over sometimes and just trying to hang on for dear life.
You were fine. You were a little tired, but you were fine. I did not notice it. I don't think the listeners did either, but write in if you did.
Rach,
Yes, sir.
next week,
Oh.
what's her potty?
Ooh. Our potty.
Yep.
Next week.
Because you listen to our potty on the potty.
What?
We're a great toilet podcast.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
A toilet podcast? Like
Yeah, that's
something
us.
that you put on while you're
Or
like
when you're in
doing
the
biz?
shower or you're doing your biz. Yep.
I
Or a
don't.
potty.
I'd rather not think about that.
Okay.
Next week, I have a classic for you. We're taking it back to the 70s. I don't know that I've had a film in the 70s for ever. I can't think of anything. I usually stop at the
Yeah.
80s. I don't think I have anything.
It's rare when
Maybe
we go back here.
One Flew Over was probably.
Late 70s maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Probably.
All right. I have Annie Hall for you next week.
One of the most classic rom-coms in the history of
Yes,
rom-coms, right?
yes. The classicest?
Classicist.
Most classic, but I like the word classicest of the classicest.
Very
Classics,
exciting. We'll
yeah.
break it down. We'll find out if it deserves that credit or not.
Yeah.
If it's better than The Notebook. Well, I guess it's not a rom-com.
Yeah, no need to compare them.
If it's better than Pretty Woman.
Okay. That'll be fun. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right.
We saw the goods. All three of them.